Okay, here's the problem I have with Booktube at the moment. So I'm gonna try and do this, right? You got these thumbnails of people that are like this, and they're like, I read all these books in November. Check out what I learned. How on earth could you possibly read all these books and learn something? I mean, you might get the general idea of a book, but you're not applying and learning. You're just doing it for fanfare. Like, I get you can read fast. Good for you. And I know I'm going to frustrate a lot of people who are going to say and put in the comments, I read 20,000 words a minute and I remember everything I read. Well, this video is not for you then. This video is for the common man, such as myself, who has a job, who has kids, who really is not interested in feeling bad because I can't read all this stuff every month. I got time to read one book and one book well. Thinking Fast and Slow, this is a hard book. Daniel Kahneman wrote an incredible book, but this will take me months to read well. Months, not months, because I want to get something out of it. I actually want to learn from it. And that's okay, people. Please don't feel shame for reading slowly and actually learning and then applying. Today is going to be a little different, a little controversial, but that's okay. In Booktube, I have learned that now that I've been doing this for a few months, it's very much a business being a content creator, and you need people to click on your thumbnails. And so the best way to do that is to, have a stack of books. Like, I read 80 books this month, and you're trying to hold them and you're all out of balance and stuff because there's so many, because you've read, you're just such an incredible reader. Well, this gets people to click on the thumbnail and to watch the video because you're thinking to yourself, like, how is that even possible? How did this person read 80 books in November? I can't even manage to get through one because I'm busy. And you probably are busy. You probably have a job, maybe some kids at home. You're trying to get through college. I don't know what you're doing. But you definitely aren't reading 80 books in a week. And it is something that can really affect your mental state and make you feel like you're not living up to your potential as a reader. It's kind of like on social media when you see that person, the guy who's like super jacked, right? And I'm flexing in my hoodie. It's freezing outside. I live in Utah and it's like snowing and it's just so cold. Anyway, he's jacked, right? And you're looking at you, you're like, man, I'm never going to look like that guy. Or the girl, she's like the perfect bikini body and you're like, not going to happen. Well, I feel like the same thing is happening with Booktube, where you log in and you're a reader and you want to get a good book recommendation. And then you see thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail of these people holding thousands of books being like, look how many books I read. So today we're going to talk about why that is a little misleading and also give you the courage and the pathway to allowing yourself to read one book, right? To thoroughly enjoy that book and to learn from it. Back in the Read Well podcast, still freezing, still in the hoodie, it's okay. Hey, so let's talk about nonfiction now. And I think this is important. This is a book called The Practice by Seth Godin. This book changed my life, but it changed my life because I allowed it to change my life. This is a book that you could read in probably an hour or 2 hours. It's a couple hundred pages, but there's like big word, like the font is big, right? And it's really pithy. It's like you could zoom through this thing. But it took me a month to read this book and I read it well. I annotated everything and then I took time to journal about it and then I made changes. Example, right? Case in point, The Practice. Seth Godin is a business author, and the whole premise of this book is to take your art and to ship it out into the world every day, to get into the practice of making something, shipping it out into the world, and seeing what happens, and having the courage to do that. You have to make changes in your life, or else why are you reading books? And so this whole podcast, the YouTube channel, everything at the Read Well podcast, all of it is because of this book. I sat in my office, I read it, and I thought, he's right. I want to make something. I want to build a community. I want to talk about books. And so I made the very first crappy YouTube video here. I made like 40 really crappy YouTube videos, but it's because of this book. He gave me the courage to make crappy stuff, to send it out there, and to see what happens and to learn from it. And every video that we make here as a team now is slowly getting better, and it's all because of this. So when you're reading nonfiction, you could read it really quickly, right? And you could say, okay, I read that book, The Practice, I mean, it was about making things and sending it out. Message received, I got it, set it on the shelf, grab the next book, here we go. Look how fast I can read, right? That's not the point. The point is to stop, to slow down, to grab your journal and one of these things. This is called a pen, right? You push that and the thing comes out and you can write with it. And when you do that, when you stop and you think and you write about what you're learning, and then you stop hiding behind learning. Here's another issue we're having. We are in this perpetual learning mode where we tell ourselves I'm a lifelong learner and I'm still learning, and so I need to read 18 more books. So you sit at this nice desk here and you read these amazing books and then you set them back on the shelf, but you don't actually do what they say. You don't actually apply what they are asking you to apply. And so it's just sort of a facade, a learning facade. You're not actually gaining wisdom unless you go out and make the changes that the books are challenging you to make. Case in point, again, I keep saying case in point. I don't ever say that in real life, but I'm saying it to you. I made a YouTube channel and a podcast and a website because of this book, and it's changed my life. Thank you, Seth Godin. Thank you, Slow Reading. Hey, if you liked that video and you want to learn how to read slowly, take The Obstacle is the Way, for example, by Ryan Holiday. Let's say you chose this to be your book for the month. Now you can read more than one book a month, but if you're a busy person, that's great. That's a good reading pace. Like, be kind to yourself. But let's say you pick this book as your book to actually study and learn and take notes on and then apply the changes in your own personal life. If you want to learn how to do that, there are lots of ways to connect with me here at the Read Well Podcast. First and foremost, go ahead and subscribe to the channel down below so you can get updates on all of my future videos. I really try to focus on healthy reading habits and also sustainable and positive reading habits. Also, I try to really focus on community. So I host online book clubs and reading classes and everything else in between to help us in our personal and professional lives slow down and enjoy great books. If that's of interest to you, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching and happy reading.